Assassin's Creed Black Flag is getting a remake. Now, this is very interesting because a remake is something that I would probably, in a sense, not have thought about for, say, a game like Tom Clancy's The Division or The Division 2. Now, why do I say this? Well, I saw a comment on the channel, and the comment basically said, man, what Ubisoft needs to just prioritize is do a Division 1 remake or remaster. I was looking at the comment going, this person can't be serious. How many people are going to be interested in that? And this is before releasing the Division 3, because the Division 3 we know is going to be a few years out. And I said to myself, well, maybe this is probably not the most sound theory I've heard. But then at the same time, I log onto Twitter and I'm like, okay, this is probably a sound theory. You see how that basically switched up? Because again, the remake and the remaster industry is now the new thing. Why? A lot of these new games, they kind of suck. I mean, it's just a reality. Like these games, for the paying consumer who is the millennial and who is maybe a little bit of Gen X, and even the boomers that, were paying for these games 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 years ago and keeping single player games alive, they're looking at all of these games and going, why should I add this piece of junk to my library? It's just the reality. They're looking at these developers that are coming out here and making these games from a creative perspective that are bereft of, good, solid storytelling, core gameplay, core lore, and all that stuff. And they're looking and saying, this is a piece of trash. I'm not going to bother myself with this. And so they're ignoring these games. And then the polarization and the conversation is now changed. Information is so accessible. You don't need to wait to watch your favorite YouTuber actually talk about a video game. You can simply just go ahead and log on to Twitter, a place where information is pretty much given at bite sizes. And at the end of the day, you can get all the information at your fingertips, and you can get snapshots of long detailed information just by looking and glancing at a screen for 3 seconds. So with that, a lot of gamers are now more influenced in terms of getting news very fast, and in terms of information basically being much more pervasive than it was back in those days. Yes, Twitter was there, but gaming had not necessarily taken the shape that it did on that platform and even other platforms. And so it's insane right now because, again, the floor is open, the ground is open. Twitter's ownership has changed. Twitter's its identity has changed, and so anybody can say almost anything, and people can verify. And right now the community note system is a very effective one, and people can go ahead and check and cross-check that data with other news outlets. And then now Twitter being, this information bank, news outlets are trying to also fight for that attention. So with all that being said, it seems to me like making a remake or a remaster of The Division 1 is not out of the question. In fact, a remake or a remaster that carries the texture quality and, the asset quality of the unveiling of the trailer back in the day, to me, doesn't seem like a bad idea. I mean, now I know I will probably laugh at some remasters and some remakes and say this is not, a healthy way for, for a publisher or studio to go. But in the case of a game like this where there's been a huge drought of content, the creative director at the time, or associate creative director who then, went on to other games, has signaled and said, would, players like a Division game that's a single player game where there's some parameters that are not necessarily, there to constrain them playing the game? Would that be something that they would want to see? And a lot of players responded and said, heck yeah, I would love to see something like that. But again, that will be a whole different game. But a remake and a remaster, to me, I think a team that's pretty good and pretty talented, a technical team, can pull it off in a shorter period of time than it would take to actually get the Division 3 completed and done. But this might be a big ask. But is it a big ask, though? Think about it. Having seen Ubisoft and you take Massive and put on the path on 2 games that, Ubisoft's core paying audience and community did not ask for. And that core paying audience and community did not buy those games. I mean, I don't know how much Avatar sold. I don't believe, according to the last report I saw, I think it sold somewhere around 2 million copies or something. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora sales. Let me go ahead and check it up in here on the internet. I think last time I saw numbers, it was looking at about 1.9. Yeah, I mean, those are just rough numbers I saw. I mean, I'm not certain. I'm not saying that they're accurate, But this particular Reddit thing said, at the time of writing, sources revealed that the game has accumulated 1.9 million players and an estimated revenue of $133 million. So its development costs are probably still up there. And so, again, this is something that is not out of the question for Ubisoft to basically prioritize with Massive as they're working on another game. A technical side of this game is something that I think is necessary. This game needs to be given another kick in the shin for another few years, alongside a Division 2 and alongside a Division 3 game, creating this whole universe and this ecosystem that players can jump back and forth to. This is just my opinion. I mean, and at first I wasn't too convinced that this would be a valid proposition, to be very honest. So shout out to Mr. Man 97. I thought this was crazy when you actually put it out there, but apparently I don't think it's too far off right now. But let me hear your thoughts in the comment section, guys. Thanks so much for watching the video. Appreciate you guys' time and audience. Hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.